Joined here today by the one and only Lerone Murphy, set to fight real soon at UFC London against Gabriel Benitez. Thank you so much for joining me, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. Just finished sparring. Just getting home to relax. Gonna do this interview and catch some sleep.
Sounds good. We appreciate you making us part of the day. You did mention the interview. You put something on Twitter letting the media know that Wednesday was the day. Do you have a lot of interviews lined up today?
Yeah, I've got about maybe 6, 7.
Oh yeah,
I've done two already. Yeah, just get them done. Get them done out of the way today. I've got no more training today, so might as well get them done.
yeah. Is that a lot for you, seven, or is that how much you have typically in your camp?
Not really. They're only 15, 20 minutes long anyway, so I don't mind doing them. It's nothing big.
All right. Last thing about the interviews that I am curious about. What's the question you've heard or that you tend to hear the most? When you're doing these.
How do I think the fight's gonna go?
Oh yeah.
Which is, which I don't know. Do I?
Yeah, that makes sense. But it's a good soundbite too. If you're like, oh, I'm gonna knock him out or beat him up, like people like to hear
Yeah,
that.
yeah, of course. I'm confident. I'm confident in my ability, so we'll see what happens on the night.
For sure. Before we get into this fight against Gabriel Benitez, I want to talk about your UFC debut a little bit. It was sort of a strange situation. I mean, you fought, pretty far away. The
Yeah,
fight goes to a draw. How do you look back at that entire experience for you, considering it was your debut?
it was a crazy experience, but
Yeah.
I think that I should have done. I'm better than that. Than I showed, and I should have done better. I should have definitely come out with a win. Getting the draw felt like a loss to me. So I'm looking to make amends on 21st of March.
And how was that whole trip for you? Because I assume it's like what around a 6 hour flight for you. I mean, was that your first time going over there?
No, I've been over there a few times actually, but it wasn't too bad. It was all right. I enjoyed the whole experience. I've always wanted to fight overseas anyway. That was the first time fighting overseas, so it was a bit different, but I enjoyed it.
And the big thing with the UFC debut that a lot of guys they talk about is those famous octagon jitters. Did you experience anything like that, or was this business as usual?
It's just business, mate. Like I could fight anywhere in the world in front of anybody. It's just a fight. I just zone out into the fight. It's just me and him, really. It's weird. It's like if you played Fight Night, the boxing game.
Oh yeah.
It's a bit
uh,
like that where you just zone into your opponent. Like I don't see nothing else. It's just me and him.
right. For sure. Speaking of fight night, are you one of those people that's hoping they make a new fight night video game? Considering the last one we saw was Fight Night Champion.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a big fight of fight night, but since the UFC games come out, I've been playing that one. But
Right.
yeah, so it'd be cool if another fight night came out.
Yeah, for sure. The biggest thing about Fight Night, I feel like now we have so many more fighters that we could add to the game compared to 2011. So I feel like now the game would be a lot bigger.
Yeah, it'd be crazy. Imagine fighting with people like Golovkin and Canelo and stuff like that. It'd be crazy.
Right. For sure. One last thing about your fight. I mean, you fight to a draw. What sort of happened out there, and how is it mentally for you when you're hearing the scorecards from the judges?
Um, it was crazy. Obviously, I was in front of his home supporters, so I thought that they might have given it to him because it was such a close fight. When I got the draw, it was like, all right, sweet. But when I watched it back, I think I won 2 and 3. But it's my fault for leaving it in the hands of the judges.
All right, it's funny you mentioned the hands of the judges. We saw this past weekend, John Jones, all those guys. Everybody's talking about the judges and what they did wrong. What's your take on judges? Do you think MMA has a judging problem, or do you think this might have been Texas specifically?
I don't think there's a judging problem. I think that night there's a few mad decisions, but when I watched the Jones fight back, I think he won. I think he had an argument of winning. It just depends on. I think the scoring system needs to be more um, thought through and more direct, so the fighters know what scores most and what big. Because it's like when these judges are watching a fight, these different judges like they're scoring different things bigger. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the wrestling might have scored massive, but he didn't do nothing with the wrestling, so it shouldn't have really.
Right. So with that in mind, what rounds did you give John Jones?
Watching it back, 3, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. A lot of people gave him, but when people say it's a robbery, I mean, do you think that's the right word for this, or it's just like a really close fight?
Not a robbery. It's just a close fight that could have gone either way, depending on who was judging on the night. Simple. It was a close fight.
Right, for sure. As you head into this fight with Gabriel Benitez, coming off the draw, how does that feel compared to your other fights? 'Cause I think it's the first time you've had anything other than a win. Does it feel like a loss? Does it feel like a little bit less than a win? How does it feel?
Anything other than a win's a loss to me, really. I come to win all the time, so it feels like I'm coming off a loss and I need to win. Simple. Like I'm in the UFC now, got a 4-fight contract, 3 fights left, and I'm still without a win, so I'm coming to win.
That makes sense. What was your reaction when you got the call? I assume either from your manager or your coach telling you that you were going to fight at UFC London.
Um, well, I said to my coach, we're gonna need to fight soon. It's been five months. I'm ready to go. He sent a message through to see when we could fight, and Sean Shelby said, "Give us Gabriel Benitez in London." But to me, I don't mind where I fight. I enjoyed the travel really, but the only plus I'm gonna get from this is I'm fighting in front of my home fans, and obviously my friends and family can come along too.
And are you happy with the way the UFC is matchmaking you? Because it looks like, for a newcomer, they're giving you some pretty good names. I mean, these are people that, especially Gabriel Benitez and stuff, people know who these fighters are.
Yeah, it's about perspective. Some people will say, "Oh, they're doing you dirty. They're giving you the top level guys. You're still without a win." But I see it as opportunity. If I beat Gabriel Benitez on the 21st of March, then that puts me right up there with the best guys. You know what I mean? He's only just lost against Sadiq Youssef, who's now ranked number 14. So it puts
Right.
me right up there. Puts me right up there if I get this win. No, big risk, big reward, eh?
For sure. What are your thoughts on Gabriel Benitez as you head into this fight?
He's very good. It's a good. It's a tough fight for me. I'm gonna have to be switched on from the bell, but it's not a fight. It's a fight I can win, definitely. I believe in my skill set. I can get a win. I just need to be focused from the get go, from the bell this time. Not start slow and get into it.
And you mentioned his last fight against Sadiq Youssef. Obviously, it was a very good fight. He gave Sadiq a lot of trouble early on. What did you take away from that fight, if anything?
He's got good cardio and he's good, but he's there to be clipped. Like it's shown. I think he's been knocked out twice in 6 fights, maybe. He's there to get clipped, but he's very dangerous on the front foot.
And so, how do you think you match up with him? I assume you see this as a matchup that favors you. I don't think I've ever had a fighter say that the fight, isn't a good matchup for them. But how do you sort of look at this matchup?
It's a it's some it's just a fight. At the end of the day, we're both good. It's the UFC. You don't really get easy fights, but this is a top level fight for me. He's a striker with good jiu-jitsu, and I'd say I'm kind of the same. I think I'm a better striker than him. He's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, so his jiu-jitsu might be better than mine, but I'm good. I'm good enough jiu-jitsu to stay safe. Do you get what I'm saying? So for me, it's a good fight for me. I'd say it's a good fight for me to put myself up there. I just need to perform on the night. That's it, and I'll get the win.
Let's say you go out there, you get the win, you make a big statement. We saw what it did for Sadiq, but what does a big win, what does a big statement do for you at this point in your career?
It's massive. A big win here is massive for me. That kind of puts me in like in a not a comfortable zone, because you're never comfortable, but I can maybe get a shot at the top 15 in the next 2 fights or so. As long as I keep winning. For me, I've only been in the sport six years from scratch, so I'm still learning. I'm not looking title shots this year or whatever like that. I'm not looking at that. I'm just looking to win, get better, and then next year we'll go for it.
And currently you are undefeated, amateur as well as professional. Does that put a certain amount of pressure on you, considering that, you're at this top level now and, you do want to help preserve that undefeated record?
No pressure whatsoever. I'm not scared of losing. I'm not scared of losing if it'll make me a better fighter, and I'm not scared at all. Obviously, I just want to win. I want to stay in the UFC, and obviously, I want to get to that title. That's my aim. But I'm not scared. I'm not. The O means nothing to me. Like, it means nothing to me. When people are like 30 and all and stuff, it's just like, who have you fought? Because if you're fighting at the top level, against top guys, then it's MMA. Like a fight can change in one shot. So it is what it is.
And people like to throw around that label prospect. Guys in the UFC sometimes get labeled prospects and stuff like that. Would you consider yourself a prospect at the point, or have you reached that other level where you're above that?
I'm still new to the sport, so yeah, I'm a prospect. I started MMA from scratch, no previous background 6 years ago. So yeah, I am a prospect. I'm an up and comer. I'm still learning. I'm not out here saying I'm the best fighter in the world, but I will be at some point.
And so you mentioned starting just from scratch like that. What's been the key to being undefeated? I mean, looking at your record, you fought some big names. You're doing really well. What's been the key for you? Like, what's sort of the advice you'd give someone that, it's hoping to start off their career as well as you have?
Just consistency. I'm in the gym every day. I'm training hard. Sacrifice as well. I'm missing family meals, parties. Boys are going away. I'm missing it. I'm just training hard. I'm dedicated to the sport. That's what's got me where I am today, and I'm not scared. People get opportunities all the time and don't take the fights. I'm not scared. I'll fight anybody, and that's why I took that fight on 3 weeks' notice. I just come back from Jamaica, all inclusive holiday, and I was like 81 kilo or something, 82, and I still took the fight. I didn't even know who Kugov was at that point. I just said yeah to the fight. Then we watched him. Then we got ready.
And we know it's a tough question, but what kind of fight are you expecting against Gabriel Benitez? Do you think this is something that might just turn into an all-out brawl, an exciting fight, maybe a more technical? What kind of fight are you expecting out there?
Personally, I think it's the best fight on the card. Personally, I think it's going to be a war. He's Mexican, he's tough, he's a good striker, he's got good cardio. I think it's going to be a war from bell to bell until somebody gets clipped. Simple, but it's going to be a good fight. I can see it being a very good fight.
All right, now I have one more question for you, one that you're going to be answering all day. So I'm sure you've got something ready for us. But how do you see yourself getting your hand raised in this one?
Well, what I'm hoping for a TKO, a KO.
Right.
I'm definitely hoping for a finish. I don't fight for points. I don't score point. I always fight for the finish. So hopefully that will come round 2 or 3.
All right. Well, we look forward to it. It's going to be a great fight. Thanks so much for the time,
Yeah.
man. I really appreciate it.
Okay, bro. Anytime, man. Anytime. Peace.